Because the Bible says so.
Hi, I'm here with host Taylor and an array of non televised peoples who've chosen not to be on camera. And we're discussing the difference between the 512, 513, and 514 tri type from Enneagram personality types, of which there are 27 different ones instead of 16. Any initial thoughts on the tri type and how it matches with MBTI, host Taylor?
Not enough background to really have any sort of educated informed opinion. I still have an opinion on that. I think it fills in gaps. I think it's the nature. I'm sorry, I think it's the nature of people.
Well, I am in a similar position in regards to everything you just said, and I also have clear opinions about it anyway, and it is that it explains why the ways in which Chad Crandall is similar to Taylor, even though they're different MBTI types. And it's because they're the same three, they're the same tri type. Now, one thing to note is that the tri types here do not differentiate. The name for the tri type does not differentiate the order of the three numbers. I think the order probably matters considerably, but I do see that the similarities tend to be there regardless of the number order. So Taylor and I are both the same tri type, and we have similarities that are there regardless of the fact that he has 8 first and I have 7 first. However, today we're going to be talking about not those types, but instead 512, 513, and 514. The thinking perfectionists and the different variants of those. There are 3 thinking perfectionists, and they're called the mentor 512, the technical expert 513, and the researcher 514. So I'm going to begin by saying I believe that talking with famous people probably has a large number of 514s up in the mix here, as they say. And the reason for that is the 514 type is somebody who is first and foremost, in this equation anyway, a thinking type, a 5. That means they're a head type first. Head type first is dealing first and foremost with the issue of fear, of uncertainty in the world, of a lack of clear understanding of how and why it is that things are as they are. So, as a consequence, they're predominantly driven by the emotion of fear and by the aspect of themselves that relates to their head, which is for them the 5 number. So when we remember that this thinking preference relates to that emotion of fear according to the Enneagram, then it is understandable that just as the 7 likes to play and the amount in which he plays versus does shit he's supposed to do is probably representative of the scope of the fear that he's avoiding, so too, although not necessarily, so too is it probably the case that the 5s, the extent to which they are caught up in an obsession with trying to understand everything before taking action, then they too are burdened by the scope and or scale of the fear that they are dealing with. I think the greatest of all fears is the fear that I refer to as existential terror, which is an acute understanding and realization of one's own mortality and the transience of all the things that one places importance in. So for a 7, my plan is to do as much shit as possible to make something as big and permanent as possible in life, and just so that, I don't know, just to avoid thinking about it. The 5 will be the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of doing as a default setting. Now, whether or not they manifest as a doer is going to depend on that 2, 3, or 4. But let's go to the perfectionist aspect, which is either in the last slot as a conflict avoidance mechanism is the lower priority, or it's in the second slot, conflict avoidance is the medium priority. That doesn't really make that much of a difference in how the type expresses itself, because the key difference there is the 3 or the 4. The 3 is going to prove themselves ultimately when they're when they're dawdling and humming and hawing about shit ceases to provide solvency for a given situation, then they're going to say, okay, fine, I'll do it. I'll achieve something so you get off my back. It doesn't matter why you achieve something. If you achieve something, you can rest on those laurels for a little while. So how long you want to rest and how much you'd rather prove yourself again depends whether it's in the second or third position there on the number order. So if you're a 5, 1, 3, then like me, you achieve probably as a sweeping idea. Like, well, let's see what mess I made here. Can I turn that into something achievey? Maybe. Like that's how I achieve it with it in the third number slot. Whereas if you have it in the second number slot, you're probably a lot more driven to achievement stuff. As I believe Taylor's more driven to achievement stuff than I am. And he has more symbols and signals of achievement as well. So the other type that could be in the mix there is the 512. They call that the teacher type because, and that's like my friend Kimball, I think. Kimball was 512. And she's a teacher and she likes teaching and she likes helping kids accomplish things. And I think it's primarily because it fills out the identity that she's selling to others. And so that's basically what that role is for an INTP, especially, is going to be how am I framing myself for selling it to others? And if you're a 2, it's probably by teaching or something like that. Maybe doctor or something. But doctor's pretty high achieving, so it's probably more of an achiever. I don't think you become a doctor to help people. I think you become a doctor because you're an achiever. That's my initial thoughts on 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Open the floor. Anybody wants, chime in.
I got nothing. I feel like I should have something because there's 20 answers exciting.
Well, I would say that 514s, if I were going to add on to it, is that 514s have a uniquely difficult situation, which is, I didn't really talk about them. They're individualists. So, when thinking doesn't work and avoidance doesn't work, they cross their arms and go, well, fuck you. But not like fighting, but kind of like, well, fuck you then. Like that, kind of pulling away.
There's avoidance and sometimes avoidance and fuck you.
Right, it's humming and hawing. First you hum and haw. When that doesn't work, you avoid. When that doesn't work, you shrink back and go, well, fuck you, that's just how I am. That's kind of a not very high achievement mix, right? She might be a 164 though.
Yeah, that is good.
162. Well, that's much better. You want that? That's much better. Because they ultimately, a 2 will to feel good about themselves in times of trouble, they will make themselves useful. Whereas a 4, in times of trouble, will be most likely to be like, see? Fucking, I was right all along.
No, which,
And the 3's like, price gouging! You know? This water just got 10 times more expensive.
What's a 1 doing?
Well, 1, that's the conflict one, right? So that's the different section. That's the avoidance, conflict avoidance. The 1 is tried to avoid the conflict in the first place. And now that it's happened, has positioned it so that, has busily positioned it so that nobody can link it to him or involve him in the conflict, right? It's just like, well, I had nothing to do with that. I wasn't even there. I don't know anything about it. I don't even talk to me. What? Are you talking to me? I'm walking away. But so that's how they deal with the conflict. That's not 9, Luna. That's 1. 9s are in the mix trying to fix things and making shit worse, probably. And pissing me off. Just stay out of it, FJ. I don't even want to hear about it. I guess SFJ, to be fair. I don't want to hear your wringing of hands interfering with my Piao Piao.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to say that her other one was a 6. It was like a 1, 2, 1, 6.
No, I don't go on the wing model personally. I don't have anything to say about the wing model because I don't think it's logically consistent with the tri-type model, and thus I don't like it. Because otherwise, I'd be a 7 wing 8.
The 5 is 7.
7 wing 8, and then like 8 wing 7, the playest fighter, or the fightiest playtime guy. That'd be the playtime guyest fighter. Why would I have that? Why would I be 7 wing 8, 8 wing 7? That makes no sense. That's silly.
No, you'd be the fightiest player. That'd be the most playful fighter.
Right, but then the second one you have the other wing, right? So you'd be 8 wing 7, and then 7 wing 8, but you'd be in the third position probably. That's why I think it's silly because
I've got a higher 3 than I do 7.
Okay, right, I know, but the reason I think the wing thing is silly is because if you are a 7, then your wing's automatically going to be 8. If your second tri-type number is 8, obviously you prefer 8 over 6. And your second tri-type number is 8, then your wing's obviously going to be 7. You're 7 first because you prefer that. So it eliminates one of them for actual possible consideration of adding in any additional meaning. It doesn't add any meaning, right? Like if that happens. So that means to me that model's inconsistent.
The only benefit I saw that wing type 8 wing 7 is average. That's just going to be that.
Yeah. Well, what's 7 wing 8?
I don't know.
Oh, that's funny. You wouldn't care about that. Well, who would? That's not me. Why? How do I know?
It's a reasonable label, isn't it?
The enthusiast. That's a pretty good description of me. Let's see. They can misapply. I can misapply something. They can also misapply their many talents, becoming overextended, scattered, and undisciplined. Undisciplined? Scattered? They typically have problems with impatience and impulsiveness. Basic fear of being deprived and in pain. Yeah, I don't want that. Basic desire to be satisfied and content, to have their needs fulfilled. But see, this I think is wrong. Enneagram 7 with a 6 wing is called the entertainer. Enneagram 7 with an 8 wing is called the realist. But I don't think anybody would say I'm a 7 wing 6. When moving in the direction of disintegration, stress, scattered 7s suddenly become perfectionistic and critical at 1. However, when moving in their direction of integration, growth, gluttonous scattered 7s become more focused and fascinated by life like healthy 5s. I'll learn about the arrows. I don't want to learn about the arrows.
This. Typeface get angry easily, and this often creates heat in the body that, when healthy, may, blah, 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 or feeling warm, the heat in turn contributes to more dealing with anger, resulting in a cycle that controls the brain. And then I get angry from I don't know if I actually believe it, but it does have like recommendations for, I think, spasm and active.
You should definitely make sure those are followed. So yeah, that's my thoughts on those various types. 541s, go ahead and transition to 531 ASAP. You're in the moment. You're really you need to get some more shit done. And if you already are getting shit done and you still call yourself a 541, well, you might be a 531 or you might be a 541 who is a 514. And if you don't know how to get shit done, you should watch my video on procrastination. It'll help you. Any last comments by anybody before I stop this video? Okay, well, thanks for watching Talking with Famous People.